In the early years of the 13th century, the world did not see the Mongols coming. Great kingdoms stood proud behind walls and rivers and mountains. Emperors believed their armies were unbeatable. Cities believed their fortresses were eternal. But far beyond the borders of civilization, a new force was rising from the endless grasslands of Central Asia. It was fast. It was hungry. It was disciplined. It was ruthless. It was led by a man who had survived betrayal and slavery and starvation. His name was Temujin. History would remember him as Genghis Khan. In one lifetime he would unite the tribes of the steppe. Then he would unleash a conquest so massive that it would reshape continents. This is the story of how the Mongols conquered half of the world, and how a people without castles created the largest land empire in human history. To understand how the Mongols conquered so much land, you must first understand the steppe. The Mongol homeland was not gentle. It was a world of harsh winters and dry summers. The wind cut like a blade. Food was never guaranteed. Water could vanish. A weak tribe could starve in one season. In this environment, survival itself was training. Children learned to ride almost as soon as they could stand. They learned to shoot while moving at full speed. They learned to hunt. They learned to track. They learned to endure pain. Life on the steppe created warriors before it created citizens. And this hard world shaped a culture that valued courage, loyalty, and strength above everything. The Mongols did not build cities. They did not build large temples or palaces. They lived in felt tents called zhuz. Their homes could be packed and moved within hours. This simple lifestyle made them mobile. Mobility became their greatest advantage. When enemies fought from fixed positions, the Mongols could appear anywhere. When enemies relied on supply lines, the Mongols carried their world with them. A Mongol army was not tied to roads. It was tied to horses. And horses could take them across plains, deserts, and frozen rivers with shocking speed. But the Mongols were not always united. For generations they fought each other in tribal conflicts. Clans raided clans. Families betrayed families. Alliances broke and formed like waves. This division kept them weak. Then Temujin emerged from the chaos. His story begins in tragedy. His father was poisoned when Temujin was still young. His family was abandoned by their tribe. They were left to starve. Temujin survived by hunting and by refusing to surrender to fate. He was captured by enemies and kept in chains. He escaped. He learned the hard truth of power. He learned that loyalty was rare and must be earned. He learned that fear could control men, but respect could unite them. Temujin began to gather followers not through noble birth but through ability. He rewarded loyalty. He punished betrayal. He broke old tribal rules that favored elite families. He promoted warriors based on merit. This was revolutionary. Many men followed him because he offered justice and opportunity. Step by step he defeated rival tribes. Step by step he built unity through war and diplomacy. In the year 1206, the Mongol leaders declared him Genghis Khan. The title meant universal ruler. From that moment, the Mongols were no longer scattered clans. They were a nation of conquest. The Mongol army was the greatest war machine of its time because it was organized with precision. Genghis Khan used a decimal system. Units were built in groups of 10, then 100, then 1,000, then 10,000. Every soldier knew his position. Every commander knew his duty. Orders moved quickly through the structure. Discipline was strict. Desertion was punished. Cowardice could mean death. Yet bravery and success were rewarded. This created an army that trusted its leaders and feared failure. It moved like a single creature across the land. The Mongols were also masters of cavalry warfare. Each warrior had multiple horses. Some carried 3 to 5 horses on a campaign. When one horse tired, they switched to another. This allowed them to travel massive distances without losing speed. While enemy armies marched slowly and needed large supply caravans, the Mongols moved like lightning. They could cross 100 miles in a day. They could arrive before scouts reported danger. They could strike and vanish before an enemy could respond. Their most deadly weapon was the composite bow. It was made of wood, horn, and sinew. It was small enough to use from horseback but powerful enough to pierce armor. Mongol archers could fire accurately while galloping. They could shoot forward and backward. They could release arrows in rapid bursts. In battle, a Mongol unit could surround an enemy and rain death from every direction. The enemy would panic. Formations would break. Then the Mongol cavalry would close in and finish the fight. But weapons alone did not conquer half of the world. The Mongols also conquered with intelligence. They used scouts constantly. They gathered information on rivers, passes, and roads. They learned the politics of each region. They learned who hated their rulers. They learned which cities were divided and which generals were arrogant. Before an invasion, Mongol scouts could travel far ahead. They mapped the land. They observed defenses. They reported weaknesses. Many enemies did not realize they were being studied until it was too late. In this way, the Mongols fought with knowledge as much as with steel. The Mongols also used psychological warfare with terrifying effectiveness. They offered cities a choice: surrender and live, resist and die. If a city opened its gates, the Mongols often spared it. They demanded tribute and hostages. They took supplies, they moved on. But if a city resisted and fought back, the Mongols could destroy it completely. Entire populations could be slaughtered. Buildings could be burned. This was not always done out of blind rage. It was a message. It was meant to create fear that traveled faster than horses. News of destruction spread across regions. Many cities surrendered without a fight because they believed resistance was hopeless. In this way, the Mongols won battles before they even arrived. The first major stage of Mongol conquest focused on northern China. The Jin dynasty controlled rich lands and strong fortresses. The Mongols attacked with patience. They learned siege warfare from captured engineers. They adapted quickly. They used catapults and battering rams. They surrounded cities and cut supply lines. They did not depend on a single method. They used every tool available. Many people believed nomads could not conquer fortified empires. The Mongols proved them wrong. They were not only horsemen. They became masters of siege and strategy. The conquest that truly shocked the world came when the Mongols turned west. A powerful empire called the Khwarezmian Empire stretched across Central Asia and Persia. Genghis Khan originally sought trade and diplomacy. He sent merchants. The Khwarezmian governor killed them and seized their goods. Genghis Khan sent ambassadors to demand justice. The Shah insulted them and executed one of them. This was a fatal mistake. In Mongol culture, an insult to an envoy was an insult to the Khan himself. It was unforgivable. Genghis Khan responded with one of the most devastating invasions in history. The Mongols crossed deserts and mountains that seemed impossible. They attacked from multiple directions. They moved faster than any enemy expected. Cities like Bukhara and Samarkand fell. The Mongols used terror and strategy together. They captured skilled workers and spared them. They destroyed those who resisted. They hunted the Shah until his empire collapsed. The Khwarezmian state was erased. The world now understood that the Mongols were not a local threat. They were a global storm. One reason the Mongols succeeded was their ability to learn. Many armies fought only with tradition. The Mongols adapted. They took engineers from China. They took administrators from Persia. They took scribes from conquered regions. They did not care where knowledge came from. They cared only that it worked. They used foreign experts to build siege machines. They used local guides to cross harsh terrain. They used translators to negotiate and intimidate. Their empire became a network of talent gathered through conquest. They also used tactics that confused and destroyed enemies again and again. One famous tactic was the feigned retreat. The Mongols would pretend to flee in panic. The enemy would chase them, believing victory was near. During the chase, the enemy would lose formation. Then the Mongols would suddenly turn and attack. Often hidden units would appear from the sides. The enemy would be surrounded. The result was massacre. This tactic worked because enemies fought with pride and emotion. The Mongols fought with discipline and patience. The Mongols were also masters of communication. They used signal flags and horns. They used messengers on fast horses. They coordinated movements across large distances. This allowed complex maneuvers. It allowed multiple armies to strike at once. Many enemies could not imagine such coordination. They were used to slower warfare. The Mongols changed the rhythm of war. They turned battle into a moving storm. After Genghis Khan died in 1227, the world expected the Mongol Empire to collapse. Many empires die when the founder dies. But the Mongols continued. Their system of leadership and their hunger for conquest remained. His sons and grandsons expanded into new regions. They invaded Russia. They destroyed major cities. They forced princes to submit. They reached Eastern Europe and defeated armies in battles like Mohi and Lignitsa. The only reason they did not conquer deeper into Europe was because leadership changes required them to return east for political decisions. Europe survived partly because of Mongol tradition and timing. In the Middle East, the Mongols pushed into Persia and Iraq. Under Hulagu Khan, they attacked the Abbasid Caliphate. In 1258, they captured Baghdad. The city was one of the greatest centers of learning and culture in the Islamic world. The fall of Baghdad was catastrophic. Libraries were destroyed. Scholars were killed. The political order of the region changed forever. The Mongols had conquered another great civilization and left the world in shock. In East Asia, Kublai Khan became the ruler of China. He completed the conquest of the Song dynasty. He founded the Yuan dynasty. He transformed Mongol rule into a Chinese imperial system. Under his reign, the Mongol Empire controlled a vast portion of Asia. Trade increased. Roads were protected. The Silk Road became safer than it had been for centuries. Merchants traveled across continents. Ideas spread. Technology moved. Even diseases moved. The Mongol Empire connected the world more than any previous power had done. This brings us to another secret of Mongol conquest. The Mongols were not only destroyers. They were also builders of systems. They created the Yam postal relay system. Stations were built across the empire. Horses were kept ready. Messengers could travel huge distances quickly. Orders moved faster than ever before. This helped control distant provinces. It also helped trade and communication. The Mongols understood that an empire is not only conquered by war, it is controlled by speed and information. They also practiced a form of religious tolerance that shocked many people. The Mongols did not force one religion on everyone. They allowed Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and local beliefs to exist. They cared more about loyalty and tribute than belief. This helped them rule diverse populations. It reduced rebellion in some regions. It also allowed different cultures to interact under one imperial umbrella. So how did they conquer half of the world? They did it because the steppe made them tough and fearless. They did it because Genghis Khan unified tribes that had been divided for generations. They did it because their army was organized and disciplined. They did it because they had unmatched mobility. They did it because they mastered the composite bow. They did it because they used intelligence and spies. They did it because they used fear as a weapon. They did it because they adapted and learned from every conquest. They did it because they moved faster than anyone thought possible. They did it because they turned war into a science and a storm at the same time. Yet this conquest came with a heavy cost. Many cities were destroyed. Many populations were killed. Whole regions were traumatized. The Mongols left scars that lasted for centuries. At the same time, they opened trade routes and connected civilizations. They created a world where East and West interacted more deeply. They changed history in both brutal and transformative ways. The Mongols were a paradox. They were terror and innovation. They were destruction and connection. They were the greatest conquerors and the most feared riders in human memory. In the end, the Mongol Empire did not last forever as a single unified state. Over time, it divided into separate khanates. The Golden Horde ruled parts of Russia. The Ilkhanate ruled Persia. The Chagatai Khanate ruled Central Asia. The Yuan dynasty ruled China. These states fought each other. Local cultures reshaped Mongol identity. The Great Storm began to slow. Yet even after the empire fractured, the world remained changed. Trade networks survived. Cultural exchange continued. Political maps were redrawn. The memory of Mongol power remained like a shadow over history. When you look back at the Mongol conquests, you are not just seeing battles. You are seeing the story of how discipline and speed can defeat size and tradition. You are seeing how a leader can unite broken tribes and aim them at the world. You are seeing how fear can collapse walls and how intelligence can overcome armies. The Mongols conquered half of the world because they fought differently. They lived differently. They moved differently. They understood that power belongs to those who strike first and strike fast and never allow the enemy to breathe. And that is why the thunder of Mongol hooves still echoes today. Because it reminds us that history is not always shaped by the richest empires or the tallest walls. Sometimes history is shaped by people who have nothing to lose and everything to prove. Sometimes the greatest storms are born in the quietest places. And when they arrive, they do not ask permission. They change the world. If you enjoyed this documentary-style story, Then keep exploring history with open eyes and strong curiosity. Because the past is not only about dates and names. It is about human will and human hunger and human choices. The Mongols conquered half of the world, and for a moment they made the earth feel smaller. They made kings tremble. They made cities surrender. They made continents connect. Their story is one of the most powerful and emotional reminders that the world can change in a single generation.